This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Mailbag. It's time to talk to you and hear from you. Hear from all the listeners about this past week and what a week it was with SummerSlam now behind us. We are into the fall season, really, and fall can be a very interesting time in the world of wrestling. There are season premieres in wrestling, which don't really mean a whole lot, and we've got Survivor Series ahead of us. Of course, Payback and Fastlane before that. And then we can start fantasizing about the Rumble. But before we get there, guys, of course, we want to take a look back, hear from you, hear from the listeners about what the heck you thought about SummerSlam and, moving forward, of course. But one thing I want to mention, as always, because I know many of you have actually joined us over the last several days and weeks, really, as the SummerSlam season and most of the pay-per-views do bring on new patrons. I have to acknowledge a few people that have come on. And Chris Sides, welcome. Chandler, I know that you recently upgraded your membership as well, and that means you can come on the show. So Chandler, if you want to, that is something that you have an option to do. And Z Monroe, welcome to the podcast family. So if you want to join Z and Chandler and Chris, you can do that at patreon.com/WWE podcast, and that gets you ad-free everything, as well as an option to come on the show and access to a Discord server and a whole lot more. So check that out if you are so inclined. Alrighty, let's check out our first email here, and I believe this is really more of an extension of a voicemail, but let's get to it.
Hey, yo, it's me.
It's Rocky T.
Okay, Rocky T. So, your email this week is saying that you forgot to mention on your voicemail, which of course we'll get to, in fear of being cut off, is that me and the gardener, Michael Gross, are also collaborating with King Scully on an episode that will cover the influence of the UK wrestling in today's wrestling era. That's awesome. I have no objections to that. Also, the Roxanne Perez update will temporarily be suspended, but no worries. She made her Royal Rumble debut this year, and I believe she'll be on the main roster maybe as soon as next year's draft. Thanks, Matt, again for having me on the Raw review last week. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on, and good to hear that things are moving forward with my podcast. You guys are moving it forward while I'm just, I feel like sometimes I'm sitting back, but you guys are really the reason that things continue to move forward, get new voices, new perspectives, and bring new people on. So I really appreciate it. And, I continue to do the back end work of publishing and advertising the best I can and all that kind of stuff, which is, this is something that I don't think people understand. This is not me tooting my own horn. I chose this and I love doing it. But anyone getting into podcasting, I'm telling you right now, it is going to be a labor of love. You have to love this or you will leave it. Love has kept me from just saying, screw it, I'm not doing it tonight, right? It's something that is much more work than people really realize. And when you have a great team behind you like Rocky and Michael and Anthony and, our SmackDown team of Michael Ritter and John, and of course Memphis Mark, it makes it so much easier, and I really appreciate you guys. So, all right. Thank you, Rocky T. Of course, yes, your voicemail is forthcoming. Alrighty, let's get to another patron. As always, patrons get priority. I know voicemails. Got quite a few voicemails today, too. This is from Kyle, Detroit Kyle, with his first ever feedback from his live experience. He went to SummerSlam, and this is what he said. The Detroit crowd was very hot at first, with the echoes of "yeah" and "Uso" throughout the entire building. But as the night went on, the crowd died down, and by the time we got to Ronda and Shayna, it completely died. Gunther and Drew helped bring it back up, and Io's cash-in became arguably the loudest pop of the night. Ford Field got really loud at times, but because it is so large, it might not have come through on TV. No, it did. It did. And, Io's cash-in did come across very strong. I think it rivaled LA Knight's victory in the Battle Royal. And you guys certainly died around Shayna and Ronda, but I don't blame you. That was not an exciting match. It wasn't an embarrassment, but it was, I already reviewed it, but it was just, it's difficult to make that an exciting match when people watching wrestling want to watch wrestling and not MMA. You know what I mean? It'd be like watching a UFC pay-per-view and then instead they're like, well, instead of an actual MMA style competition, guys, we're going to do a WWE style match. It's just it's not usually a good translation. However, let's move on. Logan Paul versus Ricochet, you gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. You said that's the best match of the night, in my opinion. Great action, great storytelling, fun usage of other wrestlers' moves. The crowd was really into it, probably more than any other match. Logan Paul's the real deal, even more impressive in person, and I hope he's around for a while. Yeah, that's the thing. As good as he is, though, he's easy to hate. And I don't think they understood that, bringing him in as a social media star. I would like them to not always tell us how many subscribers he has, though. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like it's a qualification to be here. And I think that Logan Paul's work speaks for itself. On the mic, he's better than he should be, for sure, but there's room for improvement there. In the ring, he is just, from an athletic standpoint, he is unbelievable. And Ricochet matches him as well. Nobody would argue if these two have another match. Cody and Brock, 3 out of 5 stars. Brock is a very large man in person. It's very impressive to see him toss Cody around like a sack of potatoes. He truly is a great performer, and I must say, I thought he did a better job than Cody in this match with his selling and in-ring work. I like the story they told, but the Crossroads move is the lamest finish ever. It kind of looks like Cody takes more impact than his opponent. I'm just glad this pointless feud is over, and hopefully they can both move on to something that actually has a story. By the way, the song choice for the video package was the wrong choice, and I really like the energy in the place. Yeah, that's very rarely does the WWE production team misstep in their video packages. They almost always hit a home run. They're ultra talented. But the song choice for the Brock and Cody program was very odd and didn't help the program at all. I agree with that. It's a very rare misstep by that group. So I'm not going to hammer them too hard. However, you're right about Brock selling. I don't think Brock gets enough credit for how well he sells. He's a big dude and he's dominant, but he's not like, and this is also not a knock on Bray, but he also doesn't no-sell things, and when he does, it has meaning. He doesn't no-sell it because that's his gimmick or something. He does it when it has meaning and it's part of the story, but Brock's selling is underrated. I would agree with that. But the Crossroads, I brought that up too. It's lame. And it's only lame because it's difficult to execute in a way that doesn't make it look like Cody's taking more of a bump than the actual his opponent. I understand it. Oh, it's a twisting, turning motion. Oh boy, it must be really impactful. Imagine doing that move in slow-mo. And sure, you could apply this logic to nearly any move in pro wrestling, but specifically the Crossroads. Imagine that in slow motion on a replay. It doesn't look good in real time. I can't imagine what it would look like in slow-mo. It's just bad. I'm sorry. Is it as bad as the big ending? No. And other finishes? No. I don't like the Crossroads. It's obviously not going anywhere, but it just doesn't look good, and especially when he needs to do it 3 times. And whatever. I've gone on that rant before. All right, 25-man Battle Royal, 2.5 out of 5 stars. How is The Miz getting an entrance but not the U.S. champion Austin Theory? I mean, it tells you how far Austin Theory has fallen. I mean, Austin Theory has he is off a cliff. And sure, he's still the champion, but not for long. He needs a repackaging, I think. Not that I don't think he should be fired or anything like that. He just needs a revamp. LA Knight getting the win was a huge pop, but please tell me, what did LA Knight actually win? I want to point out that Chad Gable was amazing in the ring and put on a great show. Very formulaic and predictable battle royal, though, unfortunately. Yeah, here's the thing. Couple things. LA Knight getting the victory, I don't care if it was predictable. I don't care. The reason is it's the right decision. Predictability, I continue to say this because people continue to complain about predictability. I don't think predictability is in and of itself a bad thing if it's the right thing to do. Now, you can have the best of both worlds sometimes and do something unpredictable that's the right choice. That's always the best combination, right? Where we always want to be surprised and then go, oh, that was the right decision. But more often than not, you're going to get an outcome that's predictable but the right decision. The alternative is they do something unpredictable, but it's the wrong decision. Do you see what I'm saying? We're choosing kind of the better option of the two. Now, again, the ideal, the best combination is unpredictable and the right choice, but you can't always have that. You can't. That's just nearly impossible to book. However, the LA Knight win, what did he win? He won a starting point. That's what he won. He won ground zero is what he won. He won a victory that he can use to continue to finally start doing something with LA Knight. That's what it was. And Chad Gable, my God, yeah. Yes. And by the way, Chad Gable doing that suplex, I didn't mention this on Raw, that stalled belly to back suplex on a Ciampa, I think it was. I mean, the dude is so underutilized. It's unbelievable. Shayna and Ronda, 1 out of 5 stars. This match killed the audience. Worked MMA and WWE. It doesn't work. There were a ton of negative chants during this match, like this is boring and this looks dumb. Bad action, no story, enough said. Well, I wouldn't say no story. I mean, to be fair, they did as good of a job as they could have possibly done trying to build a last-second story with the multi-segment video package the week before and the interactions between Shayna and Ronda face-to-face before that. They did build a story. I think that's unfair. However, to your point, it wasn't fun to watch at home. I could imagine the live experience for this one, especially after you watch like Logan Paul and Ricochet just a few matches before, and you see Brock Lesnar, you saw LA Knight get the victory, and then you get to Shayna and Ronda who just roll around in the ring for a little while and play pretend fighting, pretend MMA. It's not good. It's just not. All right. Gunther and Drew, as you said, brought up the crowd. This was my second favorite match of the night. The crowd was deflated from at first from Ronda and Shayna, but these guys are so good. They eventually brought it up and earned this "This is awesome" chant. Both looked solid in the ring and were very physical and damaging. Whenever one of them hit the mat or a chop, it echoed throughout the stadium. Their power bombs were impressive too, and Drew going over the top rope was nuts live. Yet Drew never, I don't even know the last bad match Drew was involved in. No one talks about it, but Drew McIntyre is so consistent with his matches. It's something that for some reason is over the heads of most people. But Gunther and Drew, yeah, I don't know if I'd give it 4 out of 5. I'd think maybe 3.5 for me, just because for me there's a higher bar, but I'm in the realm of your review as well, or of your rating. And This is awesome chant. Yeah, they deserve that. And I wouldn't mind seeing them go again. I think they'll go again at Payback. Seth and Finn, 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think Seth surprisingly got the 4th biggest pop from the crowd behind Cody's entrance. LA Knight winning and Eos cash in. The match was decent, but didn't pick up until the last 5 minutes when Mommy came out with the Judgment Day. The crowd loved the rest, though. Quick side note, Rollins' Falcon Arrow is one of the prettiest moves in all in WWE. Yes. Maybe Cody can adopt that as his finish. Or adopt like the Michinoku driver. I mean, can we get rid of... I know Crossroads fits... Oh, well, it's part of his name. Isn't that cute? And it is a unique looking finish. But God, does it look weak. Maybe did Big E talk to him about, coming up with a finish? Was Big E advising him at the time or something? Oy. All right. Asuka and Charlotte and Bianca, the triple threat for the women's WWE Women's Championship. 2.5 out of 5 stars is what you gave it. This match was surprisingly slow and sloppy for the talent involved, and the Bianca injury angle was an obnoxious, or rather obvious, well, I guess I'll add obnoxious work, even live. Compared to the Shayna Ronda match, though, this was a banger. That's sad. Bianca was the obvious crowd favorite, and she got a big pop from her entrance, but why wasn't Asuka the last entrant? Champs are supposed to go last. I don't like when titles change with a roll-up victory, but we were very happy to see Bianca win and way happier for the EO cash-in. Also, it was nice to see Dakota back because I know how much that moment meant to all of Damage Control. I will say I'm sad Damage Control is still a thing. It felt like they kind of dissolved and no one cared, and then all of a sudden they're back. And a year ago they debuted, and look where they are now. Fine, it was a bit of a heartfelt moment. Fine, but the injury angle, and I mentioned this too, is she did a good job selling it to the point where she couldn't even put any weight on her leg at all, and then all of a sudden divine intervention struck, and she could perform a 450. Which requires you to put not just your own body weight, but like more than that, because you're jumping off of your legs to perform a move that defies gravity. And then, of course, you come crashing down. So it requires you to use all of your strength in your leg. And if you actually had an injury in which you could not even put any weight on it, it just, I understand it's wrestling, it's selling, but like, come on. And then she immediately goes back to selling it after she performed the 450. It's just like, no, this is not selling. If it was selling, she would have collapsed, right? Like she tries to perform, her leg gives out on her when she tries to do it. And like that's selling. Selling isn't only when you're not doing a maneuver. And I think this is not just specific to Bianca. I think it's a kind of an industry-wide issue. It's not just the lack of selling, but when you're trying to sell an injury, that you suddenly can perform on that ligament or that appendage of your body when you need to perform a move, but then go back to selling it when you're not doing anything. It's like, no. If you're selling something, that should prevent you from performing a move and make you look vulnerable in a match. Find other ways to win without using that part of your body. Instead of just, it hurts so much, I can't even put any weight on it. Hold on, let me do this 450 splash. Oh, wait, it hurts again. Stop it. I agree with you. It was great selling up until she actually needed to do it, and then you're like, oh, well, what the hell, right? Why even bother selling it if you're not going to use it as like, I know it was supposed to be, she's overcoming all the injuries. Stuff. Okay, I've made my point. Jay versus Roman, 2.5 out of 5 stars. This show was too long. The main event was way too long. Jay is a great hype man in person. Roman got tons of hate thrown at him all match long, but I think it was mainly out of boredom and frustration. It was your typical Roman match. Plotting, predictable, moving at a tortoise-like pace, and lots of drama and interference at the end. Honestly, I took a bathroom break during this match and didn't miss a thing. Most of the audience couldn't see the spot where Solo put Jay through the table, so that didn't pop much. Children were sleeping throughout this match. We were so tired and disappointed that the crowd bailed as soon as Roman's name was announced as the winner, not even waiting for any other surprises, and not counting Jimmy turning on Jay as a surprise because that was so expected. Overall, the entire show was underwhelming and predictable with no big surprises. Okay. Agreed that was way too long of a main event, and it does seem to be very formulaic for Roman matches. Plotting, every move is, I equated it to a pitcher in baseball between pitches. That's exactly what it felt like here. And that's been the style for Roman, but there are times when it just becomes too much. There is a diminishing returns effect here where, okay, yes, you can go too slow. In today's world of wrestling that is too fast, generally, there is such a thing as going too slow, and I think this match approached it. So kids were sleeping, but to be fair, also, this was late at night, way past a lot of kids' bedtimes, so there is that. But, okay. Great. Thank you so much, Kyle, for the very in-depth review of SummerSlam. It is much appreciated. We definitely wouldn't have got any of that had you not sent it and got that in-person perspective. So I'm sorry that it was disappointed you. I am, but I think the lack of returns really, really annoyed a lot of people. No doubt about it. All right, let's continue on. Let's get to DJ Kuzmo. And Mr. DJ says, hello, AEW and WWE Podcast World. DJ Kuzmo back at it again. I had to briefly rant on this. Can Triple H do something with those lines on his forehead, like get Botox or something? Because it's such an eyesore every single PLE. Those forehead lines look like tire tracks. I've never had anyone talk about Triple H's lines on his forehead. I think a lot of that is not just genetics and him aging, although that's some of it. It's a lot of battle scars throughout his career, I think, too. A lot of it has to do with how many times he bladed. And think about how many times Triple H bled. I mean, and used blades, right? And so I think some of it has to do with that. Some of it has to do with aging and just genetics. But I don't know what the cure is. Perhaps Botox. I don't think that's his number one priority, but yeah, they are. Now everyone's going to look at Triple H's forehead. Oh my gosh, the things you guys come up with. Good stuff. Where the hell am I? Lost my email. There it is. Okay, so still your Intercontinental Champion, Gunther. I'm going to say Gunther because I promise to never pronounce it that way, but I know what you're saying. It almost just a couple more days away until he passes Honky Tonk. I think it's 28 days. It becomes the longest reigning in history. I'm looking forward to this IC Championship match between him and Chad Gable, even though Gunther is most likely going to retain. Yeah, I am too. Chad Gable's getting a little bit more of a rub than he normally does, and I'm looking forward to the match as well. After coming up short once again against Gunther, is the time now to turn Drew heel. I'll say that right. Since Monday Night Raw does not have enough credible heels to challenge Cody, Drew has not won a championship match since retaining the title at Chamber in 2021 inside the Chamber against fellow opponents Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, AJ Styles, Sheamus, and Randy Orton. With his 2-year championship drought, do you see potentially that a heel Drew goes after Rollins for the title after Rollins finishes his feud with Nakamura? Yes. Unless he gets traded to SmackDown, yes. I mean, I can't stress that enough. I think Drew as a heel is going to refresh his career, give Seth someone to work with for multiple months. Absolutely. And could be an actual threat to the World Heavyweight Championship. And it's very believable to take it off of Seth. Not just a stepping stone or someone he needs to work with to fill time. I think Drew has a real shot, if he turns heel, to take it off of Seth. And Drew's a proven commodity. He can cut promos. He's really good as a heel. Go back and watch some of his work as a heel. And you'll go, oh, wow, there is a lot here. And there's just he is a mature, polished wrestler. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. That could be your champion and be a really good heel champion. But the question is does WWE want to pull that trigger of going back on what they originally intended to set out the world title to be, which is an anti-Roman? So we'll see. All right. One last thing. Speaking of heel turns or slight heel turns, the New Look Street Profits attacked both babyface teams in the OC and the Brawling Brutes during their match. So obviously I wouldn't assume they are heels. But then Bobby Lashley appears and the crowd chants Bobby, Bobby. I was a little confused, but I guess the crowd cheered because they haven't seen him in a long time. My question is, do you think the creative plans for the Street Profits heel turn backfired because of the crowd cheering for Bobby? That's all for now. DJ Kuzmo signing off. Well, I think they're kind of dipping their toe in little places, right? They're kind of seeing how the crowd's going to react. And it could have just been one of those, oh, we haven't seen him in a while, so we're going to cheer him, and that goes away quickly. Once that return feeling kind of fades away, perhaps they do. But I don't know what the long-term plans are. If they're going to feud, if Bobby Lashley is going to feud with eventually Roman Reigns, which I think he should, then they can't keep him heel. So this is just one night, them attacking the OC and the Brawling Brutes. First of all, no one cares about the OC. I'm sorry, no one does. No one. They are how they're portrayed in WWE has never been to their benefit, never. And the Brawling Brutes, sure, I mean they have a little bit of momentum. They were a heel team. They went back to babyface, Sheamus and Gunther, all that. But let's see what week 2 and week 3 and week 4 bring. Who they attack, what they say on the mic. That's going to be key as to what they're going to be established as. All right, we'll get the Veer Mahan report in just a few moments. Let's get to Mason, and he says, "Let me talk to you." So first, why the heck were Michael Cole and Wade Barrett on Raw instead of Corey Graves and Kevin Patrick? And LA Knight was there too, so I guess the brand split juice doesn't exist. Don't get me wrong, I want to see LA Knight as much as possible, so I like that he was there. Also, if the New Day showed up, why not bring Big E back too? Because a month ago on the After the Bell podcast with Corey Graves, he said he would return when the time is right, and I feel like now could be a perfect time. Last off this week's question for the listeners, create any feud between any two superstars for any championship. Who would they be, and what would the championship be? Doesn't have to be a current champion. Good question, Mason, to pose to everybody. Now, it's so funny. I really, I didn't even notice that LA Knight shouldn't have been on Raw. I didn't even notice. I that is something normally I would be right on top of. I've become so numb to WWE just at will bringing whoever they want from opposing brands to the opposite show when the story dictates that they do it. I'm half angry about it or annoyed by it because I still don't, no matter how many times they do it, I'm not going to be desensitized to it and just, well, that's just WWE doing what they need. No. Like, I hold them accountable. I hold them to their own damn rules, like being able to tell basic stories and why the hell we never were told for a 4-month feud why Brock attacked Cody to begin with, which we still don't know. I don't give them a pass on basics. I don't. But the opposite to this is LA Knight is a massive rising star. WWE is testing the fans to see how deep their loyalty goes and where they really believe LA Knight should be, or if he's a fad, or as Miz put it, a flash in the pan. So they're showcasing him on both shows, where his home is truly SmackDown. They didn't give an explanation as to why LA Knight was there. They just had him there and no one cared. And clearly I didn't either. I didn't even notice. Like, LA Knight shouldn't have been there. But he is being showcased on both shows now because they know they have something here and they want to see what it is. So, and as far as the whole announced teams, man, I don't know. I'm not too upset about that either, though, unless you're a big Kevin Patrick fan, of which I'm not. It didn't really bother me too much. All right, thanks, Mason. Now let's see where we want to go. All right, let's talk to King Scully. He's in the house, and he's representing the UK all day. So let's see what he's got to say. Did that all rhyme? Oh my God. All right. So King Scully says, "It's been a few weeks since I last wrote in the mailbag, but I'm here now. Hope you didn't miss me too much. SummerSlam was decent enough, but the matches were competitive, and overall it was a good pay-per-view. Jimmy screwing Jay didn't make sense. After all, it was Jimmy who turned on Roman to begin with, but we can see where this is going. I really enjoyed Michael Cole's commentary, and the ending was quality, and I found it amusing. Jimmy, what did you do?" Yeah, that's true. Michael Cole did make it as dramatic as it could have been. Props to Cole. Sky winning the title was great. Loved it when her music hit. Lesnar versus Rhodes was enjoyable, and the respect from Brock was a nice touch. Oh, before we get to that, the cash-in thing, why do we need to hear from the announcer before the bell rings that there's a cash-in? I mean, those are precious seconds. Like precious seconds that could be wasted on being like the match is hinged on the announcer announcing it. It should just be the competitor hands the referee the briefcase. It's implied. We all know it's coming. And the bell rings. Like, it should be instant. There's always precious seconds of the match starting where there's false cash-ins and things. But I digress. All right. I think Balor should have won it too. I'm already bored of Seth's title reign. Logan and Ricochet was good. Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey was hard fought. I think the Battle Royal should have had a better prize, like maybe a title shot of some sort. But I'm definitely happy that LA Knight won. Yeah. Moving on. There's been loads of injuries lately. Or am I just lost myself? Oh, surely the tag team titles should have been made vacant. Well, the men's and women's, it's all going a bit crazy. I think those titles are cursed. Yeah, I'd agree. And for God's sakes, can we please, since we've unified physically the belts that were unified, can we please do that for the men's tag team titles? Please. Please, please, please. What's wrong with The Miz's face on Raw? He looked like a tomato. I found it quite amusing when The Miz called LA Knight an Attitude Era fanboy. His mic work is always good, and LA Knight once again rose to the occasion. He gave as good as he's got and more. Liked Knight from the start, and it's good that he is this over. Was a good back and forth between the two, but the real question is, why was LA Knight on Raw? Oh, wait, because we know the brand split doesn't matter. Yes, I just went over that. But are we complaining? You know what I mean? With this, and that's what WWE would say was, well, are you complaining he was there? You know what I mean? So there's that, but I also am a big stickler for brand split rule enforcement. Shoosh, please. I'm glad that Chad is getting a push. He's a brilliant athlete, and his promos have always been entertaining, especially recently. Can Gable be the guy to dethrone Gunther? It seems unlikely. He would definitely deserve it. Thank you. Well, so no, it'll be a fun, hard-fought, a bit of a David Goliath, a bit of that dynamic going on with the size difference, a pure wrestling match that's physical, a lot of suplexes, a lot of impressive, I think, maneuvers coming from Gable. This is a sneaky match here. Not that I think Gable has any chance to beat Gunther. He doesn't. For the biggest reason, number one, is Gunther is an inch away from being able to claim he is the longest-running IC champion of all time. You think WWE is going to not cross that for Gunther? They have massive plans for Gunther. Gable's not going to be the one to stop that. No chance. Zero chance. I don't care who comes back right now. Gunther will cross that threshold. All right. I just can't help but like Shinsuke. Always have, and it appears he's getting a lot more TV time lately. Always been good in the ring. He's charismatic, and I enjoy his character. Good to see him in the main event. You're noticing a pattern here, though, guys? Generally, guys, not just you, King Scully here. Everyone. They're pushing people they normally wouldn't that have been there. They're not new, but I think they're doing this because they have a couple of B pay-per-views coming up and time to fill before Survivor Series. And I'm not saying the guys and gals here are fillers, but I think they're giving these men more of an opportunity than they otherwise would because it's a bit of a lull before another major pay-per-view. And I don't know, just some thought there. I tweeted or X'd. Yeah, I don't understand the X thing. It's still tweet. Like, sure, the X is cool looking, but like, so I don't know. Whole nother topic. So you tweeted to Cody Rhodes. I told him to stop asking a stupid question that we as fans cannot answer. He didn't respond, but unfortunately I tried. Well, thank you for trying. I really appreciate that. But he continues to come out there, Cody Rhodes does, and ask a question that the fans still cheer, but it's like a mild cheer, and they're only cheering, I think, because he mentions their city. That's it. That's the only reason. He insert name of city. What do you want to talk about? Insert name of city. What do you want to talk about? That's it. A little bit of MJF for you there. But that's what he does. That's it. And the only reason that people cheer is they said the name of our city. Isn't that cool? I'm from here. You know what I mean? It's nonsense. And the way he also delivers it is I want someone to punch him in the face. He does it in a sly smile, knowing he's about to get a pop, but that also no one can answer this. There's no coherent, cohesive, collective answer to this other than just, okay, open-ended question. I guess we're just going to cheer because he mentioned our city a few words ago. It's ridiculous. But he continues to try to make it a thing. It's not a thing. People aren't cheering along. You notice no one is speaking along with him. If it was so over, Cody, after you've been doing this for months and months, wouldn't people be saying this along with you as your catchphrase? Instead, you rely on the people cheering and get false validation from people cheering only because you mentioned the name of the city, not because it's a good catchphrase. So, and also the way Cody delivers his promos, he's I don't know. I don't want to go into it. I'm starting to side with Anthony DeMarco on turning completely on Cody in terms of his babyface character. Excellent in the ring. He feels like a main eventer, but just miscast, even though I understand the pops he's getting and all that. I get that. I know I also feel like I'm in the minority on this too, and that's cool. But, all right, I could go on a whole massive Cody diatribe now about his promos, but yeah, all right, moving on. The worst thing about Raw this week was the return of The New Day. Same boring gimmick. I don't get why anyone likes them, cheers for them, and it's obvious they were going to win. Lame. New Day sucks. You are my new favorite listener of the day. I feel like I should insert some kind of applause there. If I had a soundboard, I would. I'm also looking forward to working with Rocky T, Michael Gross, and Mav on an upcoming episode. Be fun to make my debut. Enjoy your day. Peace out. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Cool. All right, guys, let's keep rolling here. Let's see. I have to heavily... Oh, this is from Malachi. And Malachi says, I have to heavily disagree with you on the statement you made on SummerSlam review about nobody wanting to see Bianca Belair as champion. Maybe you don't want to see her as champion, but the casual fan and majority of people in attendance cheered loudly when she came out and popped loud when she won the title. She gets reaction as loud as anyone, so I'm confused with this notion that nobody wants her as champion. Maybe she needs to take a well-deserved break and hiatus for the marks to see how important and vital she is to the company and the women's division. Okay. Well, here's the deal, Malachi. When you heard the reaction for Bianca, it was more of that they don't want Asuka as champion. Okay? People would have cheered if Charlotte won and cheered maybe louder. Bianca Belair just came off being champion. Okay? She's been champion essentially since WrestleMania 38. And we need a break from Bianca Belair as champion. We just do. It was more, I believe, just happy the fans aren't going to continue to see Asuka as champion because Asuka as champion is a snooze fest. It just is. It's not that people hate Bianca Belair, or rather, I think they hate her. They don't. I think people are bored with her babyface character and that she should turn heel. I believe that. I continue to believe that. She would be much more successful at this point and give her a refresh. But the cheer, I think, had a lot to do with people just wanting to see Asuka not as champion rather than more because people are excited to see Bianca as champion. Case in point, when we had Io Sky cash in, the pop for Io Sky winning and beating Bianca was exponentially louder than Bianca winning the title in the first place, which told you people are ready for a change here. So, I guess we'll agree to disagree, right? All righty. Let's continue to, let's see, who do we want to go to? Nick from Oregon. Nick says, the women's division, at least the top of the SmackDown card, seems to have a face-heel problem. Although, is it a problem? Outside of Bianca Belair, who may close to the expected heel turn, or may be close, or Zelina Vega, can you name one superstar on the brand that's has a strongly defined position? Charlotte and Asuka, both are being booked as babyfaces, but work better as heels. Io, she comes off like a new babyface champion, but isn't Damage Control supposed to be a heel faction? Even the mid-card is muddy. Shotzi, is she supposed to be the babyface to Bayley's heel, or vice versa? Does anyone care? Michin? I guess the OC is a babyface faction, just with zero heat. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire? Who knows? Do you see this as a problem? It just feels like right now, coming out of Ray outside of Io, there isn't much heat for any of them, so I wonder if creative needs to figure out more defined roles. If I'm fantasy booking this after some time off, Bianca turns heel, joining Lashley's new Hurt Business, and goes after whoever is still champion at the time. Yeah, that's some good points there, Nick. When you look at all the women on SmackDown, there could be cases of, well, this person's booked as a heel, but they're in a heel faction, but they're still a new champion like Io, and she's still getting a big reaction as a babyface. What I think WWE would chalk this up to is, well, there's shades of gray. There's shades of gray. Everyone shouldn't be defined in just strict categories. I firmly disagree. I understand there are shades of gray, but in pro wrestling as a presentation, You want to be able to have clearly defined good and evil. It really boils down in pro wrestling at its core, when it's the most successful, clearly defined roles of who's playing good and who's playing evil. That's it. I know that, that's rudimentary, that's elementary. No, that's what it is. Who do you want to see beat the other? Why do you want to see this person beat this person up? What did that person do that deserves it, right? That's it. Or what do you want to see that person achieve? So, and that's really what it is. That's not all it is, but that's at its very just root. That's what it is. And so, yeah, I don't know if it's a problem only if attention is drawn to it, where the reactions flip flop. Like what I think the worst example of this, or best depending on how you look at it, is Ronda and Shayna. We don't know still to this day who is the babyface and who is the heel. I would imagine most people were cheering for Shayna, but not strongly. It wasn't overwhelming. That was kind of a mess of a heel babyface dynamic, and WWE didn't seem to care. Sometimes it just happens, but right now, yeah, you're right. Like Charlotte is booked as a babyface, but she's clearly better as a heel, and sometimes she says things that are very heelish. I mean, you're never going to get exactly everything lined up perfectly to go, this person is, the epitome of a babyface, and this person's the epitome of a heel. You get that occasionally, but more often than not, right now, they just they do have wishy-washy people on the women's side, and some on the men as well. No doubt. I mean, this could actually be you can make an entire show on this show, an entire like kind of side podcast on the women's issues in wrestling or successes. I'm open to that, by the way. If someone out there, I'd actually really like to have more women on this show to talk about women's wrestling. I think that would be a fun dynamic. I don't think there's enough women that talk about wrestling in podcasts because, well, it's a male dominated demographic that watch the product. But thanks, Nick. Very intriguing and good points. All right. Let's see. Let's go to Ryan. And Ryan says, "Hey, Matt, enjoying the ad-free shows in your SummerSlam review. I've seen a lot of chatter online about the heel turn and Brock's off-script heavy putting over of Cody. But am I crazy, or didn't both Brock and Cody and Jay versus Roman both call for pin or submission with interference being a DQ? Shouldn't both Cody and Roman have been disqualified?" Well, no, because the tribal combat was no disqualification. Now, if tribal combat includes no family members should be involved, and if family members do get involved, it's a disqualification, that's different. But I don't know if that was ever enforced. I think it was mentioned at one point, but it wasn't ever a point driven home. So I think they kind of let that fade away, and they just made it a no DQ match labeled and marketed as tribal combat. So I don't think Roman should have. As far as Cody getting disqualified, I don't think so. That was a straight up wrestling match, though, right? Yeah, that was. But why should Cody have been disqualified though? What happened? I'm not sure. All right. I know this is all in order to move the stories forward, but I feel like creative is completely throwing match stipulations and rules to the wind. What are your thoughts? Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's a very broad statement. I'd have to get specifics. When you're saying that they're throwing match stipulations and rules to the wind, they do that a lot, though. That's just kind of the way WWE has presented their product forever, where sometimes match stipulations and rules don't apply when they don't want them to, and do when they don't want them to, or don't when they don't want them to. So that's a very broad statement. You'd have to give me specifics. But all right. P.S. Totally random. But if you and your listeners are interested, I was the guest on August 11th's episode of Talk is Jericho, where we talked about UFOs. Yep. Talk about a swerve for you. Oh, Cool. Keep up the great work, and congrats on LA Knight finally getting the push we've been holding our collective breath on. Well, I wouldn't say he's got a push. I mean, right now he's won a battle royal, which isn't exactly something you put at the top of your resume. LA Knight hasn't done much of anything yet, but it's the start. I would say, it's the start. So you were on the Talk is Jericho UFO discussion on August 11th. I have not listened to that episode, but maybe I will. Maybe I will, because UFOs are something that I could probably create a whole podcast on that. That's kind of my side interest as well. Like, I mean, laugh if you will, but UFOs or UAFs, it's unidentified aerial phenomena now is how they, I guess how they identify them, or Bigfoot. Okay. Bigfoot. I know, which I will say this, and I don't know if I mentioned this on the show, very, very much a side thing here. I was never really a big believer that, there's Bigfoot. They clearly would have found remains. I didn't believe in it. And I'm not about to say I've seen one. Okay, I'm not. But what I will say is this. If you guys haven't seen the show Expedition Bigfoot, you should. Okay? Some of the evidence they collect, and they're about to drop season 4, where they go to Alaska. I would highly recommend you watch that. It may make you not. They don't find like Bigfoot in front of their camera, but some of the things that they find in the woods related to Bigfoot, it's indisputable evidence that there's something out there, and it just is. Okay, so I would very highly recommend, if you're interested in such things, if you care about like cryptozoology and all that, watch Expedition Bigfoot. I know there's a lot of other Bigfoot shows out there. Some of them are just boring. They're never going to find anything. Oh, there's a knock in the woods. It must be Bigfoot, right? The whole show's built up to just a knock in the woods. This show, it's real. It's not produced. It's raw. Very well done. If you're interested in such things, watch Expedition Bigfoot. Okay. 3 seasons. They're about to drop season 4. Okay. Thank you, Ryan. You got me all on a Bigfoot tangent now. All right. Let's see. This is from Freeman. Firstly, I was impressed with Logan Paul and Ricochet. The match was stunning. He made me forget why I found the whole situation dull to begin with, but now it's over. It felt a little too in the moment. It doesn't seem to set anything up going forward or resolve anything that happened in the past, but overall the quality of the match was perfect for an opener to get everyone in the mood. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, the match quality went way down after this. Like, it started at the top. It was a great way to set the tone, but the tone wasn't followed through on. All right. Brock versus Cody. I felt a little lost. I'm told Brock is a big name and an all-time great. I've never heard of him before this arc, and so my expectations were higher after hearing all the love he gets. Maybe I built it up too much in my head, but I came away expecting more from him. What was overall a good but fairly run-of-the-mill match. Well, wait. First of all, wait. Did you say you've never heard of Brock before this match? If that's the case, and you're not just pulling my leg, how is my first question. Even if you're not a fan of wrestling or whatever, even if you don't know what pro wrestling is, if you've never even understood what WWE is, you don't understand the concept of pro wrestling, it's actually impressive that you've gone, I don't know how old you are, but you've gone presumably a few decades in your life and you have not heard the name Brock Lesnar in any capacity. I mean, he isn't just WWE. Obviously, he had a very accomplished career in MMA. He is at this point a household name. So I'm not making fun of you. It's actually more impressive that if you've never heard of him before this. So kind of cool in a very strange way. The MMA rules match, them having to explain the rules of the ring just before starting made me laugh. It shows how ill thought out this whole thing was and made me realize how sloppily thrown together the whole story is. From a lackluster betrayal through the past few weeks up to not even knowing the rules of the match before the match starts. No planning was put into this and going to and it showed. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. And no one was a fan. Let's be honest. No one was a fan of this. Most people weren't. But it's over, and we can move on. The Women's Championship belt and Io Sky taking the belt just seemed a little too predictable, and when I sat down, I thought about it. There wasn't anything else Io could actually do with the Money in the Bank contract. They aren't going to have both women's belts on SmackDown, so there's only one belt that she could cash in on. So if she didn't use it now, what would she be saving it for? So I'm left wondering, what's the point of even having the women's Money in the Bank match when there isn't a cool use for the contract? Also, can we please separate Io from Bayley? I've only been watching a month, and I'm already sick of how joined at the hip those two are. Well, they teased them splitting. The tension has always been there. I was hoping that the whole faction of Damage Control had been just finally scrapped, but it's not, sadly. But Io and Bayley, it needs to happen. Please. Io and Bayley has been in the background for way too long at this point. Think about this. Bayley returned last year, and she hasn't done anything of note. Nothing since she returned. And she formed a faction. So Bayley needs to come to the forefront. I miss Bayley as champion, or at least in the championship picture. Seth versus Finn was the highlight of the show. This sets up so much potential and ongoing story. I can't wait to see how it goes or all turns out. And the beauty of this is Finn has no one to blame but himself. Easy target to deflect blame from himself. Seeing how this spirals from here will be the major takeaway from SummerSlam for me. Well, cool. Your name's Matt. So, okay, Matt. So, very good. Very good. Very good. All right. What do I got? I think I have Chandler. So Chandler says, let me talk to you. SummerSlam delivered for me personally, but I could see how some would say it underdelivered. And the Finn and Seth match was by far a favorite creative finish, and Seth's attire was a nice touch. I forgot to talk about this last week, but the Cody and Brock video package was amazing and well put together. They had a good song that needed the need to do more like that. Oh, so you're complimenting the song. Okay, Chandler, I think you're in the minority here, but to each their own. I actually forgot New Day was on Raw. Didn't have much to say about them. Yeah, no one cares they returned. I'm sorry, no one cares. When I say no one, of course, there are people out there. But generally, like, no one's talking about the New Day's return. It's not the first thing on people's minds. It's just run of the mill. Oh, they're back. Okay, sure, whatever. Like that's that's the reaction. I mean, that's it's just kind of very much indifference. Let's see. I'm extremely happy that Gable got a win, and a big win at that. I don't think he's going to beat Gunther, but it feels good to see him getting a nice push, albeit temporary. I mean, it just probably is. Back to Finn and Seth, with Finn attacking Seth on Monday. It feels like they're going to have another match, but I feel like there's no reason to have another match unless they're going to take the title off Seth. Well, I think this is leading to, more importantly, a Finn and Damian split. That's what I think. Becky and Trish is weird and boring. And it makes zero sense last week that they had a match and Stark interfered. And this week, Beck says that they will have another match next week. So what stops Stark from interfering interfering is barred from ringside. Is it the steel cage? It makes a little sense. Well, is it in a steel cage? I don't think it is, but if they're going to tell us and try to drive that narrative home that, it's going to be in a steel cage so no one can interfere. No, that has proven to be true 0% of the time. In fact, it invites more interference. And you know what's more effective? Adam Pearce just telling people they're barred from ringside and saying if you interfere, you're suspended. That's it. That's more effective than a physical steel structure. It's just words. So if they truly want no interference, that's what will happen. I thought Shinsuke was already a heel. He attacked Ciampa for interfering in his match with Bronson Reed 3 weeks ago, or maybe it was 4, but I'm so confused right now. That's it for this week. Yeah, this kind of leads into the previous emailer about the wishy-washiness of defined heels and baby faces. It's just kind of whoever, it's for Shinsuke, it had been up to this point kind of a back and forth, whatever we need you to be, you're going to be that night. That's seems to be where Shin has been living. All right, let's see where else. I think let's see. I know I deleted. There was an email I deleted by accident, and there it is. Peter, I think this is the final email. So Peter says, I don't know where you're from, but I don't know. I thought I saw a place. Let's move on. Is it ironic now that it's SmackDown who needs to work hard to elevate the U.S. title? We've spoken about Raw needing to do this while there was no World Heavyweight Champion. Raw did a great job since Austin Theory arrived on SmackDown. They've essentially let the title and Theory go to waste. Speaking of Theory, did they just throw him in the SummerSlam Battle Royal as gap filler? My wish is weirdly to see Theory in the Judgment Day. I think Theory would be a nice fit there. That's a hell of an idea. It'd be more relevant than anything he's done since WrestleMania, that's for sure. But I don't think SmackDown needs to elevate the U.S. title. I think the talent need to elevate the U.S. title. Creative needs to get back behind it. The U.S. title has lost so much value since it was put on Austin Theory, and that's really disappointing because we thought it would be the very opposite. There was even talk at one point of Austin Theory beating Roman Reigns for his title many months ago, right? So it's really about just putting video packages together, some interviews again, having it be more of a central piece of SmackDown. It can be. I mean, especially if the wrestlers are going to ignore the fact that there's a more important title around the waist of Roman Reigns. You can at least start to talk about the U.S. title and make it, and not just a one segment, but multi-segment part of SmackDown. So, all right, Peter, I almost missed you. That was a close one. All right. So let's see. I think, wait, no, hold on. I do this every time, guys. I told you, there's a lot tonight. You guys got a lot for me, but this is, I promise, the last email. If there's anybody else after this, sorry. I mean, I need to get the voicemails. So this is from Thomas, and he says, there goes SummerSlam. A mixed bag for me. The women's championship match had a fast pace and flow. It had nonstop in-ring action without the need for an over-the-top spot. All three of them really showed their world-class ability and further cements the standard need for the developmental rising of female stars to reach the top. Io Sky cashing in and winning the women's championship was amazing and well-deserved. I think she will turn on Bayley, claiming to have used Bayley after she becomes less relevant. I hope it's the other way around. I think Bayley turns on her. I hope that is. Happy to see LA Knight get a PLE win. I would have preferred it to be something more meaningful than a battle royale, which always feels like a filler to get the unused man active, but at least he has been rewarded and acknowledged. Again, guys, yeah, this is a starting point for Knight. I know everyone wants a bigger victory, but it's just the starting blocks. We just started, and he needs something to ground himself in, and this was it. So that's how I'm viewing it. My disappointment in the main event is beyond words. Another solo interference for Roman, and another bloodline member for Uso being involved in the ending. I feel stupid for hoping Voldemort would come back, of course referring to The Rock, at most opportune and poetic time. The match was again incredible quality and in-match storytelling at its finest. Roman moves on to new challengers. I'm guessing Jimmy turned on Jay as he felt Jay had no divine right to become the next tribal chief. Placing himself above Jimmy may have been regarded as disrespectful. Yeah, I'm sure it has something to do with that. That's probably something that they'll try to sell us, you know. All right. The main event, the main question for you. Have you noticed the downed superstars are now constantly watching the referee pinfall counts, and this seems to be happening more than ever? Roman is the true king of near falls. He can kick out with split seconds left with his eyes closed. Brock and Jay possess a similar ability. I think it was the Balor-Rollins match with the most pin watching. Roman versus Jay had little to none. It's a pretty critique, but when you see the superstar look at the referee, you know they will kick out, and it spoils the drama and shock massively for me. Surely one of the most important parts of the match. Stars and referees should practice their near pinfalls. I find this more frustrating than overly loud stars calling their moves in front of the cameras. That said, wrestling is in a great place at the moment. Bring on the next PLE. Sorry for the long email. I haven't heard your pre and post SummerSlam shows yet. I'll catch up Monday. Well, enjoy the shows. That's a interesting and poignant observation. I've been critical of the announcers specifically Cole, who is really good, but he just cannot help himself of calling something before it happens, which tells you the opposite is happening. So they're going to win the championship right here. And it's like, oh, F you, Cole. Now it ain't happening, right? Like, not happening. Now, I know his job is to bring you in, make you believe, but anybody that's been a fan for any amount of time just immediately knows that that's your job, and everything you say right now is the opposite. But that's interesting. Yes, I have noticed that, and maybe my subconscious has just pushed that aside to make me just more engaged in the product. But if you don't know what if you don't understand the email here, what Tommy is saying is, when there is a fall that is not going to be the end of the match, it's a near fall. If the camera catches the eyes of the guy on his back, and you can see that person who's on their back looking at the referee, you know they're kicking out more often than not. If maybe it's 100%. The reason is they're looking at the referee is because they're trying to gauge the pacing, the cadence of the count, so they kick out just in time. And I agree with you, Tommy. Yeah, I don't know what the solution is, though. If you close your eyes and just use your ears, you could cause a situation in which, you're not getting all the information, where the count of the referee might be off a little bit in your sound, and it doesn't give you the full picture, so you're not kicking out exactly when you should. Maybe what they could do is just close their eyes a little more, so it doesn't look like their eyes are wide open looking at the hand come down to kick out right at 2 3/4. So now everyone can't unsee that. So thanks, Tommy. Oh gosh. All right. So here we go. I think we're done. Yeah, we're done with emails, guys. Even if anyone emails me here, sorry, you're not getting on the show. You're just not. Sorry, I need to move on to voicemails, and we're going to do that in short order right now. So let's do it.
WWE Podcast World, this is DJ Kuzma back at it again on your Mailbag show, recorded to you live on a Wednesday morning. And before we get to the Veer Mahan Report, I gotta give a shout out to everybody that was down in the Discord chat this past Saturday for SummerSlam. It was an incredible SummerSlam. They over-delivered, and they had some awesome moments. Shout out to Detroit Kyle. Oh my goodness, Detroit Kyle. This was his first time seeing a WWE PLE live at Ford Field. So shout out to Detroit Kyle. And of course, we had an awesome time cracking jokes, and of course, making our instant reactions to some of the most incredible moments that happened at SummerSlam. And none bigger than for our guy, none other than LA Knight. And everybody say, yeah. Whoa, that was such an awesome time just to see none other than LA Knight finally get a big moment on a PLE. So shout out to LA Knight. I hope this is a lot more things for him to come, as he hopefully goes for that United States Championship from none other than Austin Theory. And speaking of Austin Theory, I don't want to continue to go on a rant, but what the hell? Why was Austin Theory in the SummerSlam Battle Royal? He's the United States Champion, right? So what the hell is that all about? But other than that, I don't want to continue to go on a rant, but let's go to your favorite show to come on every single week on the Mailbag. And I'm talking about the Veer Mahan Report. Now, the Veer Mahan Report took place this past Monday night on Monday Night Raw, live from Minnesota. But for the 6th straight week, we did not get an appearance of the Indus. We did not get an appearance of my guy Veer Mahan. We did not get an appearance of Saga, and we did not get an appearance of the modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal. But all roads lead to September 8th, Friday, September 8th, Superstar Spectacle down in Hyderabad, India. So my guys are continuing to promote the event, as of course it will be down in their homeland of India. And of course this is going to be happening in a place called the Gabochi Indoor Stadium. So with that being said, I know that we haven't seen him in a while. Hopefully we get to see him very soon. And I know that also, before I go, none other than my guy, Veer Mahan, had a birthday. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. So happy birthday to my guy, Veer Mahan. This is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay with me, my friends, and peace.
Happy birthday, Veer Mahan. I didn't think I'd be saying that today. but you already sang the song for him, so you kind of outdid me and outshined me. So thank you so much, DJ, for your energy and for your passion and for, the shout out to everyone in the Discord server who, I really applaud, and Detroit Kyle with his contributions and attending the event and giving us a live in-person perspective. All of that was just well received by everybody. I haven't heard any complaints or anyone needing a timeout in the Discord chat. Occasionally we'll run into that, but it's been a long time, and you guys are great. The Discord chat continues to be one of the real main selling points here. People love that, and I'm glad I was able to implement that for those of you. And hey, you want to join Patreon for $1? You not only get everything ad free, but you can get into that Discord server and join DJ and join all the other patrons for a hell of a chat during live events, especially during PLEs. It's so much fun. So thank you so much, DJ. And you enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk to you next week. And let's get to our next one.
Hey, Matt, and the rest of the WWE Podcast family. This is actually something different this week for me for the first time in a couple of weeks. This is not the corrugated report. I'm not even sending this in on that Wednesday. On Tuesday. Wednesday. I'm not even sending this in on Wednesday. I'm actually sending this in Friday, one day before SummerSlam. The reason why is I actually forgot to mention this in my last voicemail for the corrugated report on the Mailbag Takeover edition. On that voicemail, I forgot to mention this. I'm actually going away on vacation for like 2 weeks to Hershey Park, Pennsylvania. We're going there from this coming Tuesday, the 8th, all the way to August 19th. So I'm going to be missing the next two mailbags. I'm still going to be listening. I have Spotify on my phone and stuff. I'm still going to be listening to all the podcasts and the mailbag episodes while I'm on vacation. But for the next two mailbag episodes, I'm not going to be on them just because I'm going to be on vacation. It's just not really. I'm going to be with family, so it's like I'm not really going to try a call or anything. Just want to let you guys know. So if you don't hear from me next 2 weeks, yeah, that's why. So if anyone wants to fill in for the corrugated report for the next 2 weeks, feel free. If someone wants to do the corrugated report for the next two mailbags, go for it. But if not, it's okay. I get it. People are busy. That's all I wanted to say. I'm going to be watching SummerSlam. I'm still going to be watching all the wrestling on my phone on the vacation, so I'm going to be all caught up still. But that's all. Talk to you guys in 2 weeks. See you later.
All right, Kyle. Well, enjoy vacation. Yeah, I'm actually going to be going on vacation myself, and that'll be going probably like 4 or 5 days, maybe 6, starting next Saturday to the following Saturday. But I'll still be able to hopefully crank out some episodes here. The mailbag may be shoddy. I'm not sure how that's going to work. We'll talk more about that next week. But my best effort will be made to continue to pump out content because we have Wi-Fi. It's just a matter of finding a location. I'm in a house with a bunch of other people and a bunch of other kids. Sometimes I remember doing some shows in my car. Just bring my laptop in my car at night and do that. So, but anyway, Kyle, enjoy your vacation. I hope you have some rest. We'll of course, talk to you in a couple of weeks and appreciate your contributions. Alrighty, here we go to our next one.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. So I wanted to talk about SummerSlam last night. I thought it overall was good for the most. I can't say great, but it was good. And I think for me, what I was really hyped over was Io Sky winning the championship. And I thought I had that thought for a while now that Io sort of cash in and win the championship at SummerSlam. I kind of figured that was going to happen. And so I'm glad it did. And to see, so I'm sure what they're going to do now with Io as champion for SmackDown and all that stuff. So it'll be fun to see how her reign's going to be fun and interesting than Asuka's, because I don't really care for Asuka, but I like Io because both of them are Japanese stars, but I enjoy Io a little bit more than Asuka. I don't know if it's the personality or what it is, but maybe because I think also too Io is more serious than Asuka. If you Asuka as like a child sometimes, every time she comes out there, and Io comes out there like she goes out like an adult, to be more serious. So I like that. And so I like that entire thing that Io's champion. The other thing is too is that what's next for Seth Rollins at this point now after defeating Finn Balor in a better match too, by the way, than Money in the Bank. What's next for him heading into now that they're clearly Judgment Day is going to break up here, leave Priest and Balor to have some issues. What's next for Seth Rollins? Now his stuff with Judgment Day is over with. A big step for him, but that's like key sets of SummerSlam. But that's it. Thanks for call.
And we have so many Kyles on the show. We have Detroit Kyle. We have New York Kyle. So many Kyles. But, Kyle, I will say, if you listen to the show up to this point, I mean, you kind of know what my answer is going to be, is Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be a nice holdover for a month, maybe two, from Payback to Fastlane. And assuming there's no event in Saudi Arabia, which I don't see on the schedule right now, so assuming that's not the case, I really believe Drew McIntyre turns heel. And then we get a Drew versus Seth program where he could truly take the belt off of Seth late in the year, in November, December, maybe at the Rumble. But a Drew heel turn, it would be a lot of fun. It would just be, it would be a lot of fun for Seth to work with. And really also Cody Rhodes. Maybe Cody Rhodes worked with Drew too. So that's what I think. All right. Thanks so much, buddy. Let's go to our next one. A few left. I think we have 3 or 4 left. So let's do it.
Hey, Matt. This is Mike from Connecticut chiming in. It's been a couple of weeks since I've reached out to you guys, but no major questions today. Just a couple observations I have for you. I've noticed that you are commenting here and there about the Intercontinental belt being referred to as heavyweight champion. In other words, Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. They actually used to do that a long ways back. I go back a ways. I'm 50 years old, so I've been watching since the golden age of Hulkamania in 85, 86, when I started watching. But specifically, I do recall, and it always stood out to me, even way back when I was a kid, that the Macho Man, Randy Savage, referred to his Intercontinental Championship belt as the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. I don't recall anyone else doing that, but I do remember Macho Man doing that a lot, and he had the prestige to be able to do it because he was the Macho Man. You believed that he was the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. So I just wanted to, if you didn't ever pick up on that, I wanted to let you and your listeners know that way back it was once called that, at least by Randy Savage. And secondly, something that made me smile and laugh a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, you and Anthony were talking about I think they were still then tag team champions, Chelsea Green. You referred to Chelsea Green as Rachel Green. So I'm calling you out on that. So I want you to tell all of our listeners who exactly Rachel Green is and why that was in the back of your head. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a biggest fan. I'm guessing you were of that show. It was a very, very, very funny show. You don't go 9, 10 seasons without being obviously successful and funny. But it's time for you to step up. Who is, not Chelsea Green, who is Rachel Green? Matt, have a great one. WWE Podcast. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work. And I will talk to you soon. One last thing. Can we get, I lost my train of thought. So I'll get back to you on that one. All right. Take care. Bye.
I'm being called out. I didn't know I did that. Sometimes I just make up words. Like I called PJ McDonough. Sometimes I just do things that are because my brain says, no, this is a better way. This is their real name. So first of all, let me talk about the Intercontinental Championship. I think on the actual title, it does say Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, which I have no problem with. It makes it sound more prestigious, and it's heavyweight, so it's the strongest men only. But also, if that's the case, that would mean there's a weight element to this and a weight qualification. And if there's a weight qualification, then I would imagine if we look back in the history of the Intercontinental title, that a lot of those men would not meet that qualification of being a heavyweight of over 205 pounds. Whatever. I'm fine with it. I did not know that about the Macho Man. I have no problem with it. It's just interesting to me. It's just interesting, and Gunther certainly fits the bill to be a heavyweight, no doubt. Now, as far as Rachel Green, who the hell's Rachel Green and not Chelsea? Obviously, I misspoke. So Rachel Green, I'm thinking back, and I'm like, where the hell did I come up with that? I'm imagining, because I watch a lot of Friends, the TV show. So Rachel Green is a big character on that, right? Rachel Green, of course, is played by Jennifer Aniston, right? One of her most famous, if not her most famous role in all of television that she's done. So Rachel Green from Friends is probably what, for some reason, I was going to. And I have been watching Friends lately, so I think that's probably where it came from. I don't have any exes named Rachel or Rachel Green. Like, I don't have any past trauma with any woman named Rachel. So if that's where you're going, I don't, unless, you know, it happened and I'm unaware, of which I had many nights I don't remember. That said, that's all I could. That's the only thing I come up with. I can't search in the bowels of my brain any deeper than that. But I'm glad you enjoy Anthony and myself. I enjoy talking with him as well. Okay, let's get to our next voicemail.
Hey man, it's Justin from Maryland. Hope all is well. Just calling to talk some SummerSlam and got a couple of questions for you. So first, the main event, Roman and Jay, it was a good match. I just gotta say that the whole Jimmy turn, it just really just I won't say I was disappointed, but I just really didn't expect that to happen. I thought that, you know, Dre was going to get, you know, beat down, you know, he was going to make a comeback but not win. But I definitely didn't expect Jay to, like, turn and help Roman win. And it didn't even seem that Roman even knew what was going on. I don't know if you caught it, but Roman's face was just confusion. And it looked like Paul Heyman, like, he was standing behind Jimmy just like, you know, just doing his little facial expressions. And it seemed like Paul Heyman might have had something to do with it, and Roman didn't know. So that'd be interested to see where they go with SmackDown. Honestly, it made me sad because it's like you turn on your own twin brother, like your literal twin. You guys are like almost the same. You look the same, and then you just turn on him in this biggest moment. And I just think back to when Jimmy, you know, when they had that whole segment, and it came out that Jimmy was he was basically jealous of Jay because Jay was the right hand man and stuff. So I feel like they'll play on that, but I just wasn't really happy with that, honestly. Next, let's see. So Seth and I guess Shinsuke next. I'm not really interested in that. Shinsuke has been teasing the heel turn for weeks now, so I guess they pulled the trigger. So I guess they'll go with him and Seth at Payback. Of course, Shinsuke's not going to win. Probably get like a 4-star, maybe 5-star match. But that whole thing was interesting because with Seth and Cody, you can still feel the tension. Then I honestly thought that they would go with Seth and Cody at Payback, but then I'm like, no. Because you honestly can't have Cody lose clean right now, and you can't have Seth lose. So I was just like, okay, something's going on. So I feel like they're going to still do Cody and Seth one more time because they definitely have to finish that. But I definitely think Seth is going to beat him because I don't think Cody's story is going to end with him winning the world title. Next, let me see. So Drew McIntyre, seems like we might be getting a character change. We didn't get him on Raw this past week, but after his loss, he didn't speak during the interview. So hopefully, you know, we do get a character change for Drew. He lost clean. I'm sure he disappointed.
All right, Justin, 3 minutes gets you again. Maybe 3-minute warning. Maybe that's what I'll just kind of like name your voicemails at this point. Your voicemail files that I download. 3-minute warning. Rosie and Jamal. Throwback to those that remember the early 2000s with Eric Bischoff. Anyway, okay, Jimmy, I agree. It was kind of a disappointment. It was a turn, but was it a turn for the right reasons? I don't know. Time will tell, but it feels very Matt Hardy-ish, where, like, yeah, we know who's the heel, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. We understand that, but are people even wanting to see this? Do people really want to see the Usos fight one another? That remains to be seen. No doubt about that. Now, as far as Cody and Seth, I don't think it's going to be Payback. I don't think it's going to be at Fastlane. I think it's going to be Survivor Series or later. I really do. Hell, they could even fight each other at WrestleMania and wait that long. because now we've seen a pattern where one interrupts the other after their program is closed, and you think they're going to go there, and then it happens again, and they get interrupted again and detoured. So they keep crossing paths, but not able to follow through because they keep getting interrupted by side projects, right? By detours of other guys. So I think they're going to keep doing this. They could string it out all the way to Mania. They could. Seth and Cody could have their fourth match, because that would be their fourth. And by the way, Cody has beaten Seth all 3 times prior. And they could have that match at Mania, but then wouldn't that require one of them to turn heel? Doesn't always have to happen. Big babyface versus big babyface is a dynamic we've seen before, but the fans usually will then be forced to choose someone to cheer for. It's a bit of a dangerous thing to do, but right now I don't think they have any intention in the short term of putting these two together yet. They just keep teasing you, telling you it's coming. Thanks, Justin. Couple more, and we'll close it out.
This is Chris.
And Galia.
From Warspite,
Alberta, Canada. So we're also going to be at SmackDown in Calgary. And but right now, we would like to talk about SummerSlam.
All right, Matt, to start it off, would like to hear a rant. What are the logistics of having 4 main event matches at a pay-per-view or PLE?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we've only got 3 minutes, Chris, so let's talk about the 9 matches and our takeaways from SummerSlam. First of all, Logan Paul and Ricochet.
So we both agree it was amazing athleticism.
Great match.
Kind of a tarnished finish with brass knuckles.
Yep, but typical Logan Paul slimy style.
Okay, and so what do we not like about this mostly?
We do not like the fact that Logan Paul is taking his Prime energy drinks from children. Very, very bad stuff.
Controversial things.
Yeah, not okay.
Okay, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. I didn't like that Brock Lesnar could not finish Cody Rhodes. He was weak and out of it, but Brock couldn't do it.
You know what? I thought that Cody Rhodes really deserved to finally win this, but, you know.
Ultimately, what was the best part?
The best part was the handshake at the end. So honorable, very, very classy of Brock Lesnar. And I'd really like to see something from Brock Lesnar in the future, maybe some real good guy stuff.
All right, but LA Knight, we don't have any time. We kind of botched it here, so we'll move past him.
LA Knight, about freaking time he won something. I was so happy.
Just some Galia, I can't see. Okay, so Shayna and Ronda, this was our standout. Oh my gosh, Shayna's cool.
Shayna, we just loved the humanity that WWE brought out in her. Love her story.
Yeah.
Really, now we feel like we can get behind her.
And we saw her on Raw, and we were like, yeah, all right. Gunther and Drew. What was funny?
Gunther and Drew, what was funny?
Say it.
What was funny?
Drew fell on his nuts.
Oh my gosh, on the rope. It was so funny. Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. Yeah. You know what? Really good match. Unfortunately, Drew had a mishap towards the end. Splash from Gunther. He just couldn't hang on. He just was
45 seconds.
He was spent.
All right.
Okay, but you know what? We'd really, and then would really like to see a matchup with maybe Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar, maybe in the future.
She wants them to be tag team partners.
Warriors. Yes.
All right.
Warriors. Okay. Seth Rollins and Finn.
He looked possessed as he was going for that briefcase. That briefcase is bad news.
You know what? Why couldn't the Judgment Day just stay the heck out of the
triple threat girls match? What did you think?
Well, we're not done Finn Balor.
I know we're not.
All right, triple threat. You know what? I didn't really like the match with the women.
No.
It was okay. But I guess Io Sky,
Roman. No tribal chief would ever do this.
No tribal chief would ever do this. No honor.
All right, Chris and Gelly, you guys certainly, that's called maximizing your minutes, folks. That is maximizing your minutes. You guys crammed it all in 3 minutes. Amazing. I mean, amazing. I'm imagining you guys hit the timer right when the voicemail started, so you knew exactly how much time you had left. Well done. Yeah, you guys are attending SmackDown. We will set up a time to talk about that. I'll message you, or just email me. I thought you messaged me on Facebook. I got so many messages on Facebook. I think it got lost in the sauce. My Facebook page is starting to really take off for some reason. So I'm not complaining about it. I just have so many messages. So email me. All right. Mailbag at www.podcast.com. Email me, because if we're going to talk on Skype, which is how I record the calls, we'll do it that way. And if we're going to talk about SmackDown, then let's talk on Sunday evenings. Sunday evenings, like 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is about usually when I record. So some specifics there, but let's get to a couple of your comments here. So, didn't like the women's triple threat. I agree. It was meh. Now, as far as Logan Paul, you're villainizing him for taking the prime drink away from a child, right? Well, looking at the nutritional facts on this, should a child really be, drinking essentially an energy drink at that time of night anyway? I think he did a service to the parents. I mean, he's doing God's work here. Like, I think he really helped out the parent here of not having a wired child, drinking Prime. Okay. Looking at the ingredients of Prime, I mean, it's not the worst drink in the world. I looked it up because I'm like, what is in this thing, right? It does have an overload of vitamins and potassium and magnesium and all that. It does have a little bit of sugar. It's not probably something I would be drinking. I wouldn't. I'm 38 years old. I still wouldn't drink this at that time of night. So the parents are probably like, thank you, Logan Paul. Thank you. I don't have to deal with a wired, kid at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. But hey guys, I really enjoyed the banter. I enjoyed you guys have a nice little chemistry going on there. It's almost like you have experience doing this or something. It sounds like you're like previous podcast hosts. I don't know. You guys have a nice chemistry. So let's get together. I want to hear more about your thoughts. And of course, with SmackDown coming, let's talk. Email me. All right. We'll figure out time and all logistics. Very good. All right. Let's hold on. I think we got one more. One more. So let's get to that final voicemail, guys, and then we can call it a night. Here we go.
Checking in. It's Rocky T. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to let everybody know that I will be taking a small sabbatical from the mailbag. Not from the podcast, just from my entries into the mailbag. Don't worry, I'm still an active listener. Every week, a loyal religious listener. I noticed that we are getting a lot of new Patreons. And I know all these people want to have their voices heard on the mailbag, and I want that for y'all too as well. Y'all know Rocky T always has a lot on his mind and sends in a page-long email, and I want to give my spot to somebody who's a new Patreon to have their voice heard. My voice is being heard with the Wrestle Magic episodes, with me doing the AEW Collision every other week, so don't worry, I'll still be a part of that. We have a couple irons in the fire right now. First and foremost, Kuzmo, I got the episode ready for you, buddy. Me and the gardener have it ready for you. Let's make the time and let's knock it out. I got the format ready. We have it ready for you, man. Let's get it together and see whenever we can set the time to get that done. We are also working on an episode with the gardener's nephew. This one will be titled "Not Everybody Can Be a Top Guy." This is going to go hand in hand with what we just saw at SummerSlam, with the right-hand man trying to be the top guy. We will explore what it takes to be a WWE superstar, but most of all, what it takes to be a top guy in the business. To piggyback on Kuzmo's episode, which is going to feature theme songs, we are working on an episode with Mrs. Rocky T, which we will explore makeup artists, ring gear, etc., behind the scenes, things that we don't see or even think about, which goes hand in hand with theme music. So all that stuff is coming together. Again, I will be listening actively. I will chime in if something comes up that just has to be spoken about. But for the meantime, I've got so much research going on with all these episodes that it's hard to keep up with my mailbag emails because I construct those all week long. So, again, don't worry. I'll still be around. I'll still be listening. Everybody, just do me a favor. Every day, do not have a good day. Have a great day. Talk to you guys later.
Oh, Rocky T, appreciate the update. I'm sure listeners appreciate the update as well as to what's kind of going on the Wrestle Magic side of things. And now you are feeling the pressure of just getting things together for a podcast and recording and all that and do research. So yeah, it's quite a bear, and we'll look forward to your return to the mailbag. But you're listening, and that's great. And I know a lot of you kind of do the same thing. And while you don't have time to maybe contribute, you're still listening, and we appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, hey, Rocky T, I really appreciate your contributions. You and Michael Gross do an excellent job. Wrestle Magic, we have PJ Polacco, we have Justin Credible, who is also a part of the Mailbag, part of the Wrestle Magic group. And you guys do such a great job. Just Incredible is going to be joining Michael and Rocky T on a monthly basis, once a month. So that'll be a lot of fun, and appreciate it. You know, you guys are keeping me going. You guys keep me busy for sure. So one thing I want to say to Chris and Gallia, not to disrespect you, Rocky T, but as I was listening, I was like, I didn't answer. The 4 main event thing for SummerSlam is a marketing ploy. There's one main event. It's the last match. That's it. I think that they're doing the 4 main event thing or multiple main events. They did that at WrestleMania. No. There's one main event. Main event is by its nature a singular thing. You can't pluralize it, even though they're trying to for marketing purposes to try to make it sound more important. No, the main event is the last match that goes on. End of story. That's it. I think they're doing it for the reasons of trying to make the talent not feel like it's all Roman Reigns for 3 years and that, oh, well, I'm part of the main event too because WWE said I am. And also from the general public, it sounds like it's more important. Wait a minute. They don't just have one main event. They have 4? No way. You know, and if you take 2 seconds, you're like, well, wait a minute. No, they're just other matches before the main event. Don't try to insult my intelligence. It makes me crazy when they do this stuff. I know most people don't give a damn, but when they try to sneak that in, it's like, stop. It's not. There's one and will only be one main event. And plus, if you're telling us there's multiple, doesn't that devalue what a main event means now? I mean, just look at what main event means. It's the biggest match on the card. You can't tell me there are 4 biggest matches on the card. All right. It's getting late for me. I'm starting to rant. So, Chris and Gallia, what the hell are you doing to me? And as far as, again, Rocky T, thank you so much for the update. And we'll look forward to your return. We look forward to everybody returning next week. I am going to sign off now because I am getting tired and I'm about to hit the hay for work tomorrow. But thanks, everybody, for listening. You know, you guys are a lot of fun to listen to and be able to respond to. Appreciate all the contributions, and thank you so much. If you guys want to go ad-free, Apple Podcasts, click that ad-free button right in the app. WWEpodcast.com, go VIP. WWEpodcastshop.com for your merch. And, of course, patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Many of you have taken advantage of that, and I really do appreciate that. If you guys want to get everything ad-free, great place to do it. And, hey, come on and host the show. So, alrighty. That's it for me. Thanks, everybody, for listening and contributing, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.